What is up, you guys? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. So today what we have is an actual interview that I did with my friend Spencer Nadolsky, or Dr. Nadolsky. He is an obesity and lipid specialist. So he is someone that I really do look up to when it comes to like knowledge about obesity and treatment for people with obesity, and just someone all around that I really do respect in this field. So I'm really excited for you guys to see this interview. It was a little bit hectic. We got it started off right at the very beginning of my live stream. So I just wanted to kind of come on here and let you guys know that's what this video is. It's an interview with him. There was some right before we actually filmed the interview, there was a little bit of drama that happened with him and another doctor. Her name is the Fat Doctor UK, I believe. So we talked about a little bit about that, and then we also talked about a really new popular weight loss drug that is on the market. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for clicking on it. Let's get into it. So what I wanted to do, if you're cool with this, what I think would be the best way to kind of start this whole conversation would be to read the post that what is her name actually, the Fat Doctor? I feel so weird.
Fat Doctor UK.
Fat Doctor UK. So I was thinking we could read that post that she made about you, and then you can kind of share your thoughts on it. Is that cool with you?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. So that's what we're gonna do. So all right. So this is the post right here. So Fat Doctor UK. So she screenshotted Spencer's one of his posts that he made. And his post says, "The gap between medicine and surgery is closing. My patients on semaglutide have done very well, even when used off-label, not for type 2 diabetes. They say they finally feel normal when it comes to describing their appetite." And so with her, she screenshotted that, and then she put this out and says, "Now I'm going to preface this post by saying that I've checked out this guy's Instagram, and he seems genuinely nice. He also seems to have some understanding of what fat patients are experiencing and knows the danger of fat shaming. Also, it may seem like I'm picking on him, but I'm actually just using him as an example of how important it is to check out so-called experts before believing everything they say." So-called experts. Now, I also have absolutely no reason to think he's anything other than an excellent doctor and a decent, understanding citizen, but I think we can all agree that he is biased. Why? Because he is a lipid obesity doctor. Translation, he runs a weight loss clinic pushing weight loss is vital for business. Just check out his first tweet. He's talking about the study that was just published in the NJEM about the newest weight loss drug. Notice that he says that the gap between medicine and surgery is closing. Some might say that he is simply pointing out that there are now safer options for weight loss. Others might point out that up until now, the weight loss market was cornered by bariatric surgeons. Now there's a chance for physicians to get on all of that money. Check out the study itself. See who funded it. Novo Nordisk. Nordisk. Okay, thank you. Can you guess who manufactures semaglutide? Look, I'm not judging you if you take this medication. Sounds like it. I just want you to know the facts so that you can make informed choices. This doctor is just one of a long line of doctors who have a financial interest in opposing the health at every size movement. Their entire career is based on the premise that people should lose weight. He has more than 100K followers on his Insta page because he's a meme lord. He also works for a company called RP Strength. So when he tells you that being fat is bad and losing weight is good, just remember that his bottom line depends on it. Ask yourself whether you can trust a doctor whose primary source of income is treating a disease that some of us refuse to acknowledge even exists." Okay. Sorry, I know that I was like, hey, can you come on? And then I was like, but let me read this for 10 minutes. But I felt like it was important so people can understand like the basis of what we're talking about here. So I know that this was all kind of centered around this new drug that a lot of people have been asking about. And that was the original intention of me getting you on the stream, was because I was like, I know people are going to ask me. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I think in like probably half of these streams, I talk about you in some capacity because like you are someone that I trust a lot, and I know that you know what you're talking about. And which is what's frustrating to me, and I don't want to speak for you, but I would feel probably for you as well, is that you are someone that is very understanding, and you aren't like just someone that's like, fat people need to lose weight. Like, you're not like that. So I just reading all of that, what was like your response when you saw that? Were you surprised? Like, what are your thoughts? I just kind of curious on that.
Yeah, well, so the UK, they're 8 hours ahead of us here in California. When I was on the East Coast, it was 5 hours. But so I wake up, trying to have my espresso, whatever, trying to wake up. Kids are yelling, trying to get them breakfast. And I see a bunch of messages in my Instagram, and they're like, "Hey, look at this! Oh my gosh, did you see this?" And I'm like, "What? What is this?" And I see my tweet. She posted it, and then I'm reading what she said because she went after me on Twitter, and I responded very cordially because I'm like, I'm not playing this game like you're trying to pick at me. I know it, like you're trying to get a rise out of me. I know the social media game, and then I read it, and I'm like, this is not the hill you want to die on. I am the least of your worries. And so if you could see my response, but basically I was saying like, look, she's trying to say that I'm making money by promoting weight loss. And it's like, not all my patients want to lose weight. And I just help them in other ways. And she was also trying to say that your persona online is how you get referrals. I'm like, that's how every doctor does it. If you're in an area where like you're not even on social media, but like doctors learn of you and patients learn of you the way you practice medicine, that's how you get more referrals. Like it's your bedside manner, it's whatever. That's how anybody gets referrals and gets patients. Like, so with her being, and so I responded like, well, with you being your persona, you get referrals based on how you are. That's just how it works. And then I went further in because she has a lack of understanding, and they call them GPs over in England. They get different training than we do here. They might consider internal medicine here and family medicine a GP of what they are over there. But like over here, we do 4 years of medical school, then we choose some sort of specialty. I chose family medicine, which is super broad. And then you can specialize further from there. So I specialize further with obesity medicine and lipidology. So what if you look at her tweets, she's actually against the medicine. She doesn't have any understanding of the medicine. She has no understanding of the biology of how this hormone works in our body. She has no understanding of the pharmacology of how these medicines are used, the history of them, or anything like that. She just attacks it. So what I've found is that she actually has an anti-weight loss stigma. So we talk about weight stigma. It's not, weight stigma is a serious issue. You see somebody with obesity coming into your clinic, you don't want to just attribute everything to obesity.
So
like back pain, everything like that.
Yeah, and I don't want to interrupt you, but this is
go ahead.
This is something that you talk about a lot, and like this is when I've talked about health at every size, and I'm like, there's things that I disagree with, but like the one of the main things that I agree with that they talk about is that weight stigma when going into the doctors, because it's like so unbelievably important. And I've heard you talk about it, and then it's just funny because you've got attacked from, I'm sure the side she thinks you're on, from people being like, fat people they just need to lose weight, and you're like, dude, it's not that simple. Like,
no. But she goes on further. She basically is trying to say that this medicine is probably dangerous. It may cause type 2 diabetes. In fact, no, that's not even close to being correct. And you can see all of her tweets. But and then she also thought that I just run a weight loss clinic. It's like, no, I do a multitude of what we call like cardiometabolic medicine, which, if somebody can lose weight and I can help them lose weight, I'll do so. But not everybody. It is hard. It's super hard. So we can increase someone's cardiorespiratory fitness. We can get them to work out. Maybe that won't improve the scale, the number on the scale, but we can improve their dietary quality. So for her to attack me for that, it's like, you clearly didn't do your research on me, because I'm very inclusive of anyone with any weight. I don't push weight loss if somebody doesn't want to do it. I know it can cause harm in some due to the psychological stresses and whatever. So it was weird it's like, wow, you woke up and chose violence. Like, that was not, I'm the wrong person. And so like, I was like, you know what, whether it's right or wrong, I was like, you know what, I'm going to respond very cordially and then screenshot all of it and put it on my stories. And now if you can go and look, I'm pretty sure my comments have more likes than her original like on her post, because people are going in like, what are you doing? Like, some of the people that I've helped over the years have gone in like, why are you attacking him? He's never pushed me to lose weight. He's never pushed me to use his programs. Like I work with RP, and some people are like, I don't really like their methods. I'm like, I'll refer you to other people. I don't care. Like, of course I want to make money. We all want to make money. We're all trying to find ways to get an income. But like, honestly, I'm not, as a physician, first do no harm, treat the person as a whole. Yeah, it was almost embarrassing because I'm like, God, what are they even teaching you guys over there in medical school and training? Because like, she didn't understand what lipidology was, which as a physician, you should know the study of lipids is not obesity. It's literally the study of sterols, cholesterol, and triglycerides that are circulating in your blood and your metabolism of cholesterol, not obesity. Because she even said that. She's like, oh, it was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, she messed with the wrong guy.
Yeah. It seems like the thing that's weird is it seems like a lot of people on, the health at every size thing, it's like anytime they see anyone that is basically not fervently against the idea of weight loss, they are only for losing weight in the most unhealthy of ways. And like, This is something I've dealt with a lot, is like when I talk about losing weight, they're like that's unhealthy, or you can't do it, or you're like, I've been called like fat phobic, or like one of the favorite terms is called an X-fat. So I'm an X-fat now, because I have lost weight, and they like, because of you losing weight, you now hate fat people, and that's like what I'm told, and it's just like, it's so frustrating because I can understand where a lot of them are coming from, because there are some people that are just, especially online, that are terrible and nasty and like just so I can understand why, but it's just so strange, and I'm trying to take myself out of it. It's so strange that they like after you, because I really do feel like, yeah, you do talk about it. And obviously you want to help people that want to lose weight. I think that's the biggest thing, is it's like you're not someone that's ever like, you have to lose weight. It's like, if you want to lose weight, I will help you. And like, you're okay with trying every avenue, right? Like, I would assume that you're not going to be like, oh, you want to lose weight? Okay, let's get surgery. It's not like that's what you do. It's like, let's try every other thing, or what, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, so then she was like, and yeah, you are finally going to be able to combat the surgeons. And that's why I even made a post. I was like, or my comment, I was like, no, I work with surgeons. I work with RDs. I work with psychologists. We work as a team because we're trying to fit what's right for the person. Weight loss may not be the right avenue for a person if we feel that there's going to be more harm than benefit. However, if we think that they've failed multiple times in the past due to whatever attempts that they've tried were inappropriate, we may change that. We may think a medicine may help. And then, we may think surgery help, but we all work together. It's not an us versus them. I actually love surgeons. I love the psychologists. I love the RDs. It's a weird, she chose a weird hill to die on. It made no sense to me, but
yeah,
I was like, all right, well, okay.
So let's kind of shifting. I do want to talk about this drug, because that was kind of the, that was the impetus, I guess, of this. And this is like, I'm genuinely curious. I've tried to do my research, but I just know that you understand this stuff so much more than I do. And I know a lot of people, I'm even like reading the comments, and they're like, what is this drug? What's going on?
Yeah.
So like, could you give us like a really basic rundown of why this is such a big deal, and like why someone, or maybe even go over like why someone would choose this and not choose surgery or whatever,
Yeah. So real quick, GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, there was this effect that they found it was really found in like the 1960s. They hypothesized about it in the earlier 1900s, but 1964 or so, studied where they injected glucose directly into the veins versus had somebody drink glucose. And I would assume that if you injected glucose straight into the veins, it would go straight to the pancreas, and your insulin would go higher by injection. But what they found is that your insulin actually went higher when you drank the solution. So they termed it this incretin effect, intestinal secretion of insulin, because there was something about the intestines that made your insulin go higher than if you just injected it straight into your blood. So years later, the 80s, they found this one of these incretins. There's a couple of them, but this incretin was GLP-1. And what it did was, it helped endogenous, mind you, not the exogenous, what I'll talk about, these agonist molecules, but your endogenous GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1. You don't need to know too much about it other than it helps stop your liver from pushing out sugar. It helps your own pancreas make insulin while preserving the cells of the pancreas so it doesn't burn out. It helps decrease gastric emptying. And so it's just a very beneficial thing that we have in our body. So then years later, then pharmaceutical companies figure it out and figure out you can actually make this GLP-1 in a way that doesn't get broken down within minutes. Our own GLP-1 gets broken down quickly. Mm-hmm. So they're like, well, if we could put this in a drug, obviously big pharma, they want to make money, obviously through innovation and helping people, but they want to make money. So they find a way to make a similar GLP-1, I call them GLP-1 agonist, and inject it. The first one was called Byetta. That's the trade name, but you had to inject it a couple times a day. And what they found was like, people are losing weight with this medicine, but it's also lowering people's blood sugars a lot. Over the time, instead of twice a day, it became once a day, and then slowly but surely once a week. And now this semaglutide, which has been out for a few years for type 2 diabetes, so it has such a long half-life. It doesn't get broken down, basically for like 150 hours. It has a half-life of. It's so potent, it lowers your blood sugars, it does all those things, but it works. It also hits some of the receptors in your brain they found, and it just squashes your appetite. And so they found this with type 2 diabetes, and then they studied it with much higher doses and found that if you slowly ramp it up, because there are side effects. You get some nausea, people are like, oh, I don't feel great. And then you get used to it and you ramp it up a little bit more and more and more. They found they got to this 2.4 milligrams, and it just squashes appetite to a point where they studied it versus a placebo with, mind you, in the study, they also did intensive behavioral therapy on both sides. So it wasn't like, oh, you just took a magic pill and you lost weight. They were trying to teach the right stuff. The placebo group lost like 5 pounds or something like that, a couple kilograms. The active group lost around 14 to 16 kilograms, which, 30, 35 pounds. Yeah. And that's average. And what they found is what the other marker they looked at, primary outcomes, meaning what the first thing they want to know is how many lose at least 5% of their weight, because 5% of weight loss, as an aside, I don't really understand how these people at Health at Every Size are like, losing weight doesn't help. 5% weight loss. We're not asking people to be like you. Mm-hmm. You're a freaking medical miracle. No, seriously, like your weight loss is ridiculous. Like it's amazing. So like, we're not asking everybody to be ObesetoBeast. Would it be nice? Sure, it would be nice. But like 5 to 10% weight loss is a clinical benefit. If we can somehow sustain that, that's where we see blood sugar, blood pressure reduction, triglyceride reduction. A little bit after 10%, you start seeing improvements in sleep apnea, arthritis, and all these other things. But primary outcome for this study, what percentage of people lost at least 5% of their weight? And it showed it was like 86% of people lost 5% of their weight. Then they looked at how many people lost 10% of their weight, which is even better. Mm-hmm. And it was something like 60 something. It was a lot. And then there was even a high percentage who lost over 15% of their weight, which, I mean, it's incredible, weight loss. So, so the goal is, not just to give them medicine and say, forget it. You don't have to work on things. These medicines basically work on those physiologic drivers that go against you when you try to lose weight. That's it. So they're not magical or anything. When we lose weight, it's individual. We've talked about it on videos before for what your appetite's like. Mm-hmm. You've also closed the energy gap with how much exercise and volume you've done. So like some people, they just feel like they're starving, even if they're eating all vegetables and lean protein. They're doing everything right. They feel like they're just constantly starving despite doing their best. And if they eat more, they're going to start gaining weight. So this is where you add in a little bit of a medicine, resolve that little bit of physiologic driver. I mean, maybe it's not physical. Maybe I would call it more pathologic, because like someone like me, people that are naturally thin, they don't have those same drivers. So when someone has obesity and loses amount of weight, there are mathematical models that show for every kilogram of weight you lose, there's X amount of calories that your body ramps up in appetite drive. So all it does is basically tampers that a bit. And this one tampers it a lot, actually. And the other thing is,
That's what I wanted to ask, was like, in the most simple way, what does this drug do to help people lose weight? And then after you answer that, I would love, because I don't want it to just be like, this drug is great and there's nothing, like, obviously there are like negatives to it too. So if you could go into that as well, because I think that's important to talk about too.
This will squash your appetite. If you have obviously type 2 diabetes, it will lower your blood sugars tremendously in a way that's what we call glucose dependent. It shouldn't cause hypoglycemia, whereas like insulin, your blood sugar will go down whether you ate glucose or not. This helps once you have glucose ingested, but it works via your appetite for the most part. There's questionable, does it help with your metabolic rate? Like, does it change your set point? All these different things. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's mostly appetite driven. Negatives though. Here's a negative: an injection once a week. Now, most people are scared of that. It's a tiny, tiny little needle, and it's subcutaneous, not intramuscular. Like when you get a vaccine or something like that, or it goes in your muscle, you're hurt for a week. No, it's like you pinch a little bit of your belly, and you just a tiny little needle you put in there. So
similar to like when people check their blood sugar for like when they're diabetic.
It
like that.
Doesn't even hurt as much as that. Those things can hurt your fingers. This is like you don't even feel it. There can be, you can get sometimes injection site inflammation. The biggest complaint that I see is nausea. And what you have to do is just start at the lowest dose. And there's what we call it a titration program. You start at the lowest dose, and if they have nausea and you're supposed to go up the next week to the next dose, you may hold off for a little bit until it goes away. Then you go up to the next dose and keep doing it very slowly. And then if you can't tolerate a higher dose no matter what, then you just stick to where you're at and then see how well you do. Another negative is price. It's expensive. Insurances will see if they'll pay for it.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how does it work with insurance? I don't know how, like, if you're allowed to talk about that, but like,
it's the bane of my existence. Some insurances. So, I have my license all over the United States, and like every state is different. Every insurance is different. Okay. It's criminal to me, honestly, how our system is and how our insurance situation is. But I never know who's going to cover it. You can look on the formulary. Talk about obesity stigma. They'll pay for other expensive drugs that don't do much, but they won't pay for weight loss medicine. I think it's partially an obesity stigma, because people think you just need to work harder type of thing. And everybody needs to work harder, yes, but we talk about these drivers and that it just makes it so hard to continue that it's not worth the misery. So
I mean, dude, I don't. It's just, this is something that I think I don't want to derail you, but like this is something that I think a lot of people that have lost weight, I've noticed a lot of people, they don't have that. Like, I think for a while I didn't have that empathy because I was like, you just need to work hard like I did. Yeah. Like, I'm not special, and I still don't really necessarily think like there's anything special about me. But for whatever reason, I have been able to do this while others can't. And I'm not trying to say that as like I'm better than you, but it's like I have spoken to literally hundreds, maybe thousands of people that have tried, and like I tell them what I've done and I try and help them, but it just like literally doesn't work. And I'm not like, there might be a level of like, hey, you're not doing this thing right, but like for me, it's like I understand that for some people it just doesn't seem to work, but
yeah. And that's literally what these medicines for. And that's, and then eventually, like, that's what surgery's for. Like, if it's like, man, I've done everything, we just can't take it, and we think that the benefit is better than the harm, outweighs the harm, then these are the tools we have. I mean, it doesn't replace behavioral therapy, psychology. Yes, if we had an option to just Thanos, basically Thanos, the food
Yeah.
environment. If I clicked and if people were surrounded by mostly whole satiating foods, and you couldn't even have access to some of these highly yummy, high calorie foods. Just obesity would just plummet. It's our environment too. So
I think one thing that I've noticed, and I'm not sure if you've seen this too, but one thing I've noticed that I feel like is a disconnect for some people is there are a lot of people that are like, you just need to work hard, you need to lose weight. Like, I just want people to lose weight. Like, that's all I care about. I just want them to lose weight. But those people will also be the people that will be like, if you got surgery, you cheated. And I'm just like,
yes.
How do you not see how that is, like, if that's what you care about and you want people to lose weight, why are you making people that are, like, genuinely trying to find a way, you're making them feel bad about finding that way? Oh, it's so frustrating.
That's a whole nother stigma. I mean, right, exactly. And so I've been trying to fight that. So then fighting that, and then I get attacked because she has like a weight loss stigma. These other people have weight stigma. It's like, can we just be reasonable? Like, obesity can be detrimental. Yes, losing weight is hard for many. If you can do it through lifestyle, sure. If you need a medicine to help, why are you against it? I don't know. Why are you against surgery if it can help somebody? Like, when people, I think they're lying about their true concern. They're not actually concerned. They just want to, that's why it seems like they're shaming people, because it's like, you don't actually care. You just want to tell them they need to lose weight, and you act like you care, but you don't care because this thing is going to actually help them. I don't know. It's bizarre to me, and I don't think they see the irony of it all. But
yeah, it's. I mean, you know that I deal with this a lot too. So it's really interesting to have a conversation with someone that deals with it, but from like a different, kind of a different area, from like a more medical field kind of based thing.
Yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about was just as far as like how long. So if someone decides to take this medicine, right? Or drug, I don't know what the correct term is. How long? Either way, how long are they supposed to like be taking it for?
Yeah. So this is one of the misconceptions that this doctor mentioned. She's like, well, and if you stop it, a lot of people regain their weight because their appetite comes back. So here's the paradigm shift. With type 2 diabetes, we put people on metformin, we put them on these types of drugs, we put them on whatever. Their blood sugar goes down. Once they reach their goal, we aren't like, all right, let's take them off the medicines then. We keep them on those medicines. Yes, we promote lifestyle, of course, and whatnot. And we try to deprescribe if possible. But oftentimes we have to keep them on these medicines long term, unless they've changed their lifestyle so much that we can take them off those medicines. Same with blood pressure. You put somebody on a blood pressure medicine, their blood pressure normalized. We don't go, oh, you reached your goal, let's take you off. So with weight loss medicines, as long as there's not harm seen, and that's why they have to do longer studies. And this was a long trial, relatively, it was over a year. You're on it indefinitely, because once you come off, the appetite will come back. And so people go, well, I don't want to take a medicine long term. Well, we take them for all sorts of other chronic conditions, chronic diseases. So the idea is treating it more, obesity as a disease. And that may sound harsh, but it's more of it's because of this pathological drive once we lose weight, and our body's drive to try to regain the weight from appetite. So I've been able to do it for some patients, not everybody. It depends. Like if somebody has so your story where you were drinking 2 liters of regular soda. What is it? Orange soda, right? That was your favorite?
No, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Okay, so let's say I have a patient that had your lifestyle, drinking lots of soda, 2 liters, and I put him on this medicine. It works. Now, if I were able to then change them to drinking diet soda or water and vegetables and whatever, and then I started weaning off the medicine, we could see then right there if there is an appetite issue or not, because they may go, you know what, I'm okay. I'm just eating these whole satiating foods. It's more for those who are like doing everything as possibly they can, right? And we remove the medicine and it's like, oh, like I used to be able to look away from the McDonald's because I was satiated. I was able to, my coworkers brought in donuts. I didn't have to eat it because I brought my own. But now that special tool that was helping me stay in my path is gone, and now I'm being nudged in that direction more and more. It's that's kind of the thing.
That's really interesting because, I mean, it makes me start to think of, and I'm sure this is stuff you thought of too, is like, what would it be like if someone was on the drug, right? They lost the weight or whatever, and then they end up like, say they start injecting, like you give them something that's just a placebo. There's nothing actually in it, but they still think they're taking it. I wonder if they would start eating more, or if part of it is the fact that they know they're no longer on this thing that is supposed to blunt their appetite. If they feel, you know what I mean?
So what we'd have to do that might have been done. What you'd have to do is what's called a crossover trial, where you do the experimental drug and you see it, and then you switch them over to placebo. I think they've done that. They did that with the second generation one that was before this medicine, and people do start regaining their weight. But I'm sure some of it probably is. Yeah, you're injecting yourself. That like. My heart says that if we were able to get somebody to eat mostly whole, satiating foods, and then ramp up their volume of exercise and keep them, hold them at a certain weight and maintaining their weight, I think we'd have better luck. It's just really hard. It's just with this environment. Honestly, like, I want to do a thought experiment. I might do a post on this. A thought experiment. You take those who are prone to obesity or have obesity, and you put them, it sounds bad, but put them on an island where you're literally, like I said, the Thanos snap. You would have no choice but to lose weight, because you'd have to kind of forage for your own food, maybe go fishing, and you'd be surrounded not by any of this food. I don't know how they would feel. It's obviously unethical to do some experiment like that. It's a thought experiment, though, because I wonder, would they be starving the whole time, or I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you would definitely lose weight, just because I'm sure, like, you would have to be active. I mean, this is all things you'd have to be really active. Yeah. The food that you do end up finding isn't going to be super calorically dense, right? You're not eating Pop-Tarts.
Not super not palatable. Like you like barely any seasonings.
Yeah.
You have to fish and somehow cook it. It's like, that wouldn't taste that great.
Yeah.
The vegetables and fruit is probably not amazing, and you just have to deal with it. And then I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know that this was like really super kind of out of nowhere.
No, anytime, man.
But this seriously was a really, really fun conversation. If anyone wants to find you, where would they go and find you?
Just at Dr. Nadolsky on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. I'm not. Instagram's kind of my main thing. I have my Facebook page as well, but Instagram at Dr. Nadolsky.
Sweet. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro. I hope you have a good rest of your day and you deal with all the stuff that's gonna come.
Oh yeah, the blowback, huh?
Yeah.
Of course, man. Anytime. Seriously, have me on anytime. I'm good.
All right. Thanks, Spencer.
Cool, man. Have a good one.
All right. Peace.